I've decided to spend my 25th birthday like every other normal 25-year-old and take Europe's worst train for 13 hours all the way from Bucharest, the capital of Romania, to Chisinau, the capital of Moldova. 13 hours on a Soviet-built sleeper train. Let's go. Now, Chisinau, Moldova isn't even our final destination. The ultimate goal of this trip is to visit Transnistria, the country that doesn't exist. Whilst there, we will meet the local people, try the local food, and dodge the Russian soldiers currently occupying this area.
Be careful.
But for now, it's time to hop on the train from Bucharest and head to Chisinau, the capital of Moldova. So sit back, relax, and join me on an adventure across Eastern Europe. On the train, these tickets cost £35 per person to take us for 13 hours all the way to Moldova. This is the room. We've got 2 beds, little table, mirror, a nice old light switch. Has got plug sockets. We've got a little Moldova thing. Window. Looks good. See if we get some sleep. They come on the train. I did one by one. An overnight. I did Croatia into Slovenia, and they just stop it, and they all like the plane, whoever it is, just get on.
Well, when I was your age, back before Schengen and whatever, I travelled. None of those countries were in the EU then. Of course, they always used to, going into communist Yugoslavia or whatever. Yeah.
Of course, it wouldn't be a birthday celebration without a drink, and luckily, this train has a bar where you can get your favourite Moldovan lager for just £1. Bargain. Finnish vodka. That's odd.
Oh, yeah.
From Helsinki. Where's the Moldovan vodka? Red.
Who knows? So how do you find yourselves on Moldovan sleeper then?
Now, these two guys were the first of many amazing people we met on this trip. Both retired teachers from Manchester, if you're watching, hello. And we spent the first part of the journey in the bar with them, chatting, putting the world to rights, and drinking cheap beer and wine. Funny enough, it's my birthday.
Oh, is it? Happy birthday!
What every other 25-year-old does.
Yeah.
We get Ibiza, we get that kind of thing. We'll come to Moldova. I'm trying to visit every country in Europe.
Right.
And Moldova is a bit of one of the harder ones to go to, I suppose. But I had been to Romania and dragged him along for the... You're doing all this, yes?
You're the same age as us, so 2008.
I am. I'm February.
You'll never forget how old you are, will you?
No, it's really easy.
No, it's the easiest one to remember. It's enjoyable.
You just didn't fancy it then? After drinking in the bar for a few hours, it was time to head to bed before checking out the toilet situation. Holy shit. So it's now approaching 4 AM. We've just arrived at the border for Moldova. We've been woken up to get ready for passport control. Now, at the border, not only do they check your passports, they also have to change the wheels on the train. As the tracks are different in Romania and Moldova, the Romanian wheels will not work and it has to be changed. And they do this by hoisting the train up. It was actually surprisingly hard to film, and then changing the wheels. The whole process took a couple of hours and it was exceptionally loud. At the same time of this, border force come on the train and check passports, ask what you're up to, and they give you your stamp. And then before you know it, you're waking up to sunrise as you arrive in Chisinau, the capital of Moldova. The views over rural Moldova as you arrive into the capital were pretty incredible, especially as the sunrise hit the landscape. So we survived the 13-hour sleeper train from Romania, and we're now in Chisinau, the capital city of Moldova, Europe's poorest and least visited country. Let's see if this is a hidden gem waiting for Western tourism, or somewhere you should avoid. Now, we couldn't check into our hotel till 2 o'clock, and the train had arrived just before 9 AM, so it was time to explore the city. For those of you that didn't know, Moldova is not in the EU, and you can't use your mobile data from your UK SIM card over there, so we had to buy a SIM. It cost the equivalent of £2 and gave us enough data for the rest of our trip. Now, first on the list of things to do in Moldova for me was to head to the Central Market, which is a massive flea market in the city, probably the biggest I've been to, selling literally everything. Now, this market is more for the locals than it is the tourists. Granted, there are a few of us, selling mostly fresh produce, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, that kind of thing, as well as cheap knockoff clothing. To escape the chaos of this city, we headed over to one of the famous parks located in the capital. This place was absolutely stunning, and we walked around the entire perimeter of the lake there, which was frozen over, and even found a Moldovan beach, which I guess is a thing. After this, it was time to head to the hotel, check in, and catch up on some much needed sleep. The next morning, we were up bright and early to meet our driver who was taking us into Transnistria. Here we met with a fellow traveller called Louis from Portugal. Hi Louis. And we set off for the Transnistrian border. However, before we left Moldova, our driver wanted to stop somewhere and show us something. So our guide has brought us to this little church, which is still in Moldova, and apparently it's built without any nails, so all the wood slots just join together. This church was built in the 16th century and, as I say, was built without the use of any metal nails. It's a popular place where locals get married, have celebrations and attend services. We then hopped back in the car and continued our journey towards Transnistria. Now, before we arrive, it's important to understand what is Transnistria. Officially, Transnistria only receives 500 tourist visitors per year. And it's a country that is not recognised by the international community and is not shown on maps, as you can see here. It's just shown as part of Moldova. Transnistria was born following the collapse of the Soviet Union. After Moldova gained its own independence following the collapse of the Soviet Union, the majority Russian population of the area of Transnistria also claimed independence, wanting to be part of Russia. However, to this day, despite 2,000 Russian troops occupying the area of Transnistria, Russia does not recognise Transnistria as a country, nor does the international community. So despite Transnistria having its own government, currency, and flag, it is still not recognised as an official country. Now, back to the video. Our first stop was to the local supermarket where we swapped our Moldovan currency for the local Transnistrian currency. It was then time to head into the city to explore. You're wondering how they spend Valentine's Day here in the USSR, or Transnistria. You come to the USSR restaurant, of course, with its lovely red hearts and romantic atmosphere. Let's head inside and see what it's like.
Please go ahead. Plastic coins.
Yes.
Yes.
1, 3, 5 and 10. So the owner of this place, здравствуйте, making some souvenirs for sale. If you are interested, up to you. Let's go inside.
Oh wow. Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Your cognac's there. Valentine's Day
Take the glass and let's go.
in Transnistria. These two on a little Valentine's Day. After sampling some of the local cognac in this restaurant, we headed to the city centre to explore the monuments dotted around the place. So our guide is just saying that Transnistria is often referred to as a country of monuments. The government spends a massive amount of money here building monuments for everything you can imagine, ranging from the Chernobyl nuclear disaster, World War II, the war in Afghanistan, and of course the most recent war in Ukraine. But behind me here is a tank from World War II that reads, "To protect the motherland" on the side of it, located slap bang in the middle. We then visited a local bookshop, which is also the place you can get souvenirs like fridge magnets, pin badges, and of course your favourite picture of Putin. I obviously could not resist the temptation to get a souvenir from here, so I picked up my very own Transnistrian fridge magnet. It was then time to visit the Central Market, which is probably one of my favourite things we did here, as I love a market at the best of times, let alone a Soviet one. Here we were able to try some of the local produce, and I tried a salted tomato for the first time. Salted tomato. It is good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Man, try it.
Good. It's good. That's not what I expected at all.
No, I can't. I don't like tomato on a good day.
No, but it's good. It's really nice. Have a bite of one. How much were these two?
I pay for everything 1-3.
Wow.
1 ruble.
No, 13
1-3.
ruble.
13.
Now, call me ignorant, but I just assumed all Eastern European food and Soviet food in this case would be bland and boring, but I was blown away by the food at this place, and the food in this market was amazing. It was fresh, it was tasty. We then continued our walk around Tiraspol to the city centre, which is home to more of the monuments and some of the more famous ones you may have seen online previously. After finishing at the market, we hopped back in the car and headed to the second largest city in Transnistria. Welcome to the top of Bender Fortress, located here in Bender, the second largest city in all of Transnistria. The views here are absolutely amazing. You can pretty much see the whole country. Well, arguably two different countries. Over here we have Transnistria, Prinestrovia. This is Tiraspol. This bridge here is currently being guarded by the Russians. There's a checkpoint located just here with Russian military and a tank guarding it. Obviously we couldn't film there. And the capital is Tiraspol. Here you've got Bender Fortress. There's an amazing church in the middle. Over this way is Chisinau, the capital of Moldova. So this fortress was absolutely stunning, and it was also packed with things to do. This incredible church is located in the fortress, and the inside speaks for itself. Now, being the curious chap I am, I'd already asked our guide some questions about religion in Moldova and Transnistria. Is there many other religions here? Or is it mainly Christianity?
99% from Moldovan population as well, from Transnistria population Orthodox.
No Muslim, Jewish communities?
Very, very small. Yeah. During Soviet time, we had a lot of Jewish here.
Yeah.
But because of the economical situation, everybody, all of them left the country.
We then proceeded into the fortress itself, which is amazingly preserved, and despite its size, it used to actually be bigger. Also at the fortress, you'll find the military museum. This museum is dotted with exhibits relating to the militaries of forces all around the world, including Britain, Russia, Nazi Germany, and more. It was quite interesting reading some of the exhibit labels within this museum, especially the ones put there by the Russian forces. So this statue of a modern Russian soldier has a label reading that the special military operation is conducting a peacekeeping operation in Transnistria. We then spent a bit more time exploring some other museums located within the fortress itself, including the Museum of Torture and a history museum. All this walking around had got us hungry, so it was time to head to the USSR canteen for a traditional Soviet meal. I'll be posting more unseen bits of this trip on my TikTok channel for the bits that I filmed in portrait and not landscape, to be honest. So what do I think of Transnistria, the country that does not exist? The UK government still advises against all travel to this area, so I feel a little bit guilty advising anyone to go here. And yes, there are Russian soldiers at checkpoints and walking around the area. I personally had no issues whatsoever getting in, out, or walking around the country. It's certainly made for a unique travel destination, and you cannot argue with the fact that this is unlike anywhere else in the world. I certainly enjoyed taking advantage of the cheap prices, experiencing a new culture, and trying new things. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe and give this video a like. If you want to use the same guide that I use, and I cannot recommend it highly enough, I'll leave a link in the description below. Thank you for watching.